refreshing. Okay, so it is, what is it? It's April 10th today. And Dana and I were talking, and we don't want you guys to have Wednesday night be like another thing that you have to get on, but don't feel like the fire to get on, or just like, oh, I got to get on team calls. Because Dana and I were feeling like that today. And we were like, what can we bring to them that isn't like, okay, let's just host a team call to host a team call? Because one, it's super important that we get together and that we like have this weekly, and that's why we think it's so important to have something like this, so we can see you guys, we can talk it out. But we also know that Monday night is super valuable with like information to give to you, and we don't want to overload you with like spitting information at you, vomiting information on you, and then not having you guys do anything with it, right? Because that's a waste of time all around. It's a waste of your hour to come on here and hear a bunch of information and not do anything with it. It's a waste of time to have you guys do that twice in a week. So if you're getting on Monday calls, which are awesome from some of the top leaders, that is like one of our priority info session calls. And then we want to go back to making sure, like we kind of talked about before, these calls are more of like a discussion mastermind, seeing what's going on with the team, seeing where we're falling short, seeing how we can help anyone who shows up here and it says like, I'm stuck, but I want to be moving forward. So those kinds of discussions. Also just talk
here too when you're
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Dana and I talked about having like optional like book to read each month for everyone. So we're like kind of all reading the same book, and we can have like 1 or 2 calls on these Wednesday nights be a discussion of like take homes and action items from that. So that these kinds of things are conversations that really do move our business forward and do give us something to implement either as a team or in our individual businesses. And do yes, thank you, Stephanie, for talking to Dana about that. Sorry, Dana did mention that to me earlier. That
she heard you.
She's like, wait, what did I do?
Stephanie, I was telling her about this, and she had a book club idea of like if we were all to read something like Built to Last together, and to like hop on and discuss it as we read it and like apply, like share what we're applying, what we're learning, things like that. Because a book like that is such a game changer for business, right? And it's a different way to kind of use this call as more of like a community connection type of thing. But that was Stephanie's idea. I cannot own that one.
Yeah, good idea. I have been in leadership chats where that has worked. And really it's more of like, okay, this chapter was like the topic of our conversation tonight. And it's not like, tell me what you think about this chapter. It's more like, okay, what can we take from this? How do you feel about it? What did you love? What did you hate? How can we use this in our business? Yeah. And the only other housekeeping item I wanted to talk about was, as we move forward this month, guys, summer shred. Like I didn't get to it yet today, but I want to make a Instagram story series for everyone to like plug and play about this summer shred group. Talking about it now, like even if you're not one-on-one, inviting people to it right off the bat, talking about it, putting a bug in people's ear this week, and then really going ham on invites from those that bug in their ear. So remember, like value, invite. Value, that's a tongue twister. Value, invite. So jab, right hook is the concept. You pour information, you give a free recipe, you show them the workout, you talk about your Shakeology, you don't invite them to anything yet, and then day 4 or post 4 of that week, you're doing a call to action. Okay, you've seen me do X, Y, and Z. Have you considered joining me? So just remember, not every day is a call to action or an invitation. People will start to tune you out. Make sure that you're pouring your brand. This is like, I'm like going off on a big thing, but remember, value doesn't have to be about Beachbody. Value can be, if you're a hairstylist, showing hair techniques. I know I've been talking to Katie about that on the team. Value can be mom hacks. Value can be outfit snags that you got. So anything that speaks to you, things that you love doing in your day-to-day, like give that to people. People want to see that stuff. You're not selling them anything. You're giving them information that they can see, and then they'll learn to trust you a little bit more. So keep that in mind as you post this month.
Hey, Annalisa, can I say 2 cents on that?
Of
It's
course.
been really helpful for me to do that. I've been doing that since the beginning of the year. I made a huge calendar, and I have about like 2.5 months built up of this idea of like you go Monday through Wednesday with value posts, and like mine varies between health and fitness. It's mostly health and fitness and a little bit of mom stuff, and then Thursday I do the call to action, and then I do Friday, Saturday. Not many people are like really paying attention, but Sunday I hit them. It just kind of depends on what time. I've heard from another call that someone else mentioned. I think we might have been a part of that call, but that Sunday night people are like sitting there like, oh man, I just binged on all this food. And so like, that's when you want to hit them with that call to action. So
having Monday scaries that they don't want to go to work.
Exactly. That's the other thing. And like knowing, and I've kind of mentioned this to kind of my team, but knowing like what you're going to focus on, like I was kind of like, okay, this week I'm going to focus on coaching posts. And so I'd have like a little bit of value here, a little bit of value, and then I'd hit them with the call to action. So like, it just really helped me get my head like organized. Like, hey, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm focusing on. So just a idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So if you guys are struggling, like this is what this call is all about, suggestions, tips, like things that work for you guys if you need ideas. So take home from that would be basically like if you don't know what you're posting, set a calendar Monday through Sunday through or whatever, Monday through Sunday, where like Mary Page said, Monday through Wednesday is just value. You are not dropping the join me, look at what I'm doing, I want you on my team thing. You're throwing out like the value of that, the perks of that. You're breadcrumbing things, but not in like a weird, like join my team kind of way, right? So definitely create a schedule calendar for you guys. If you guys are super organized or if you struggle with what to post, do that weekly calendar and all you're saying is like topic for Monday is makeup Monday or whatever. Okay. Good tips.
I just want to add something in here. MP, I love your simplicity of that week schedule. Do you have anything where you have that written where you could share it to the team in case somebody else wants it?
Yeah, I have a Google Doc that's like all organized and planned out. So I will share a copy of my Google Doc and you guys can see what I've done. I gotta be perfectly honest, I dropped the ball right before the cruise and I have yet to get back on it. But the benefit is I have a whole like 3 months of posts that I can go back to January and be like, oh, that's what I did tonight. I was like, I'm just gonna take this one and plop it in.
I love that. I just wanted to say one more thing about the whole like recall schedule. I think that with everything, like I know Alicia and I were talking earlier this week with like the ideas of overwhelm because we are on a healing journey, but it's definitely not any different for any of us that have so much going on in our lives. And I know that we could all use more pockets of time to be effectively working our business. So like those Monday night calls, guys, those are literally the best calls I've ever seen in 5 years of being a coach in terms of the value that they're putting into those videos. So if I'm curious, like who on this call, who's been getting on Monday night calls every single week or trying to? They're literally incredible. It is all of the top leaders in the company that are leading these calls. So there's something that like I really want to stress moving forward, like the importance of getting on those. And if you had to pick or choose, like not saying I don't want to see you here on our Wednesday calls, but like those are necessary things to be learning and implementing in our business. And I also say this because I know that like we always are kind of the ones running these calls, but like I want to learn and I want to grow. So those are important for me to be on too. And I don't want people to feel like you're getting overwhelmed or burnt out or like you're having so much thrown at you that you just don't have time to like think about it or implement on top of whatever you're doing. So please feel free to like throw suggestions out there of what you'd also like to see Wednesday calls to be. Cause like I kind of think that it would be good to have like a live power hour, you know, once or twice a month where they're working calls where we just come together and we, you know, crush live power hours. I think Stephanie also threw at me the suggestion earlier today of like having calls that might be more geared towards like if you don't know how to use the Lightroom app, like helping you download a preset, like learning how to edit your photos so that your social media looks better, or how to make, Unfold, like use the Unfold app to make cool story invites for your Instagram stories. So then instead of it's like the few of us that know, make them and share them, like teaching everybody how to do those things. So like, any ideas of anything that you have ever wanted to see like shared or done, like throw those ideas out there. Like this is not something where we're just coming here saying like this is what we're doing. Like we want to have you guys hands on and be a part of this energy. And like even one step further than that, I would love to see coaches on this team step up and offer to run team calls. Whether you say, hey, can I run a live power hour this week? Because I want to practice doing that. Or, hey, can I run a call on something that is going really well for me in my business this week? Like, this is your call as much as it is ours to run. So if you feel that there is some type of topic you'd love to share or add value, or you just want to push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone to do something, like, please feel free to message us and be like, yo, I want to do this week. Like, I would love to see that happen in our team.
Yeah, I'm even thinking like we can really be super organized at this point and have it really structured where like we need to have new coach calls every month. We need a place where your coaches can get together and hear from leaders in the team. And by leaders, I just mean people who are like Emerald and beyond and are hitting Success Club. People who can share like the how-tos for a new coach, running a new coach call, or maybe it's like the first Wednesday is new coach call, the second is a power hour, the third is like what, like the Lightroom mobile, like a tutorial type thing from someone who's doing well in a certain area. So it could be really structured like that too, but we just want to make sure that our calls are valuable.
Yeah. And that our time we spend together is spent wisely, not just something where you're like dragging ass to get on a Wednesday because you feel like you have to be here and you feel like you have to learn. Like, we want this to be something you love to be a part of and that you feel you can add value to as much as we try to come up with things to share.
Because if we were feeling like that today, no doubt you guys were. So anyway, let's kind of hear from you guys. Like, what do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about like what's like, if we just go through the mastermind and say like, what's one thing that's going well and what's an area that challenges you? Like, don't elaborate too much, but let's see where some of the struggles are for people on the team. If you want to. If you don't want to speak, that's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Amanda. Okay. I tried to talk earlier, but I didn't know if anybody heard me or not.
Oh, sorry. You're so soft-spoken back there.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I'm too far away. So are you asking now for us to share what's working well and what's not? Okay. Yes. So I've been hit or miss on Success Club, and I hit it in October, and then I hit a dry spell until last month. I finally hit it again. And last month, we did, because we had the push for Ultimate Portion Fix. And so the whole first half of the month, we were just jabbing for the first half of the month. And then we hit with the invites, and that seemed to work really well for me. I mean, I had probably 20 people who responded to my invites, which has never happened before. And so I like that. And so then when I hear Mary Page talking about like 3 days of value and then invite, I'm just wondering, I don't know, I'm like shiny object syndrome. Somebody says something, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And then somebody else says something different, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that. So I just feel like I'm all over the place.
I would say to that whole shiny object sentiment, because I think a lot of us feel like that, is like, you have to know what you need to work on in your business that is going to be most effective for you to implement, whether that's like having insight from your coach or just knowing what has worked for you. Like, if you can go back to think what you did those 2 months that you hit Success Club and like work on trying to duplicate that for yourself, that process. Like, what actions were you taking? How were you sharing? Like, how are you talking, connecting to people? And like, my God, there are shiny objects like 7,000 times a day with all of the stuff we have come at us. And it can be overwhelming if you're not like blinders on. This is what I have to work on. This is what I have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would 100% echo that and say, here's your opportunity for Summer Shred to value until you feel comfortable of like, wow, I've gotten a lot of feedback this week. I'm going to loop back and invite all the people who commented and all the people who liked. And maybe you're inviting like 100 people in a weekend with that thing. So you do what works for you. And sometimes we get overwhelmed with like, I need to invite every day. And it's ideal. You want to be having conversations. You don't want to like put yourself in a corner and say like, I haven't invited all month and now I've got to hit Success Club. So it's a fine line between balancing consistency. So I think that's where Mary Page's system works because it's value, right hook in a week span versus 2 week to 4 week span. So you might feel really good about, let me pour value in all week and then on Sunday throw my right hook and a call to action, but you're having those conversations behind the scenes all week. And then on Sunday you can go and invite however many people you want. And that might work for you. So,
Amanda, I can also relate to the shiny objects things. That actually happened to me a lot up until November. I was like, do I go to Facebook? Am I on Instagram? Look at all these fun new things. And it's like, there's so many trainings. Holy shit. I am overwhelmed. And I think what really, like Dana said, really kind of knowing who you are and what you work best with is where you need to focus your attention. So for me personally, I poured myself into my Facebook page and that's where I've been running and it's working for me. And I noticed on your Instagram, like you're kind of killing it with followers. So it's like you obviously, is that where you're mainly running? Okay. So like pour yourself into Instagram and understanding it and learning how to, best use it, because that consistency and just has really just kind of helped me organize my brain and overall. And like you can use my system, whatever, but it's like I just needed something that I wasn't like scatterbrained constantly, just trying to come up with stuff. Like, what do I do focus on now? So, just pick one and go.
I have to say too, I am one of those people who doesn't invite every day. I do big chunks at once. So like lots of value stuff. And then like I did just like a Summer Shred, like a post with one of my old before and afters. And today went through and did like 50 invites today. And then I'll just work off of those conversations for the next few days. I don't do brand new invites every day and it works fine. It works better with my schedule and
I kind of piggyback off that, Alicia, like on the days that I work on three of the days, I just make sure that there's like, I do my own workout and I share every single day. Like I copy and paste. So I work both arenas. For me, I get stuff done in Facebook, but I find a lot more help with a lot more results in Instagram. But I post the same exact thing. So it's not really for me like duplicating things, but I'm just covering the basis of both arenas. So I take the same exact post, copy paste, and I put it in Facebook and I put it in Instagram. So it's not more work, but there's people that are in some that are not in the other. And I had to start that way for a while for Instagram to be able to create a following. And now the following is big. And so it paid off. And the other thing is I make sure I post stories. So like for me, the days that I work, I don't reach out to people. I actually more post every single day. And then I do polls probably 2 or 3 times a week. And I work off of the polls of who is commenting to start more conversations and reach back out to people that I have, I've seen follow me a lot. And then the days that 2 of the days of the week, on Thursdays and Fridays when I don't work, I sit down and I might work 4 or 5 hours, but that's when I crunch everything in that I really feel like I need to do. And it's more check in and showing up the other days so that it doesn't get me overwhelmed. So you kind of pick and choose a little bit each day for what you need, or like a lot the days that you have your pockets to be able to give. And then the other days, at least stay present and show up, because you don't want to, once again, close your doors for 4 days of the week, or it's closing your business for 4 days of the week. You just still want to be present somehow.
Good advice. Thanks, lady.
I was actually thinking the other day about how the advice from like some of the top coaches who are inviting 100 people a day is that cold message that people are getting in their Instagrams all the time. So my advice to this team is really quality over quantity. Like, yes, you want to be touching base with lots of people each day, but those messages, when you're sending out mass messages, I mean, they end up being cold messages. And when people are doing that on Instagram, that's when people start getting saturated with crap, right? And we don't want that. So my advice to you is really dig into doing those forming and building those relationships on Instagram, along with adding your value, right? So it kind of ties in, like, maybe, finding your groove with what works for you, but value you're posting and connecting every day. And then you're going in with invites and calls to action and things like that when you've sort of built this foundation of trust. We as a team need to get away from the mass messaging. And I know that sounds like, wait, I thought we were supposed to invite everyone all the time, but I'm really like, things will shift in these businesses. Multi-level marketing is an amazing opportunity, but we need to make sure that we're doing right so we have longevity in this business, or else other people are going to be like, nope, like everyone's asking me to do this. So how can you set your business and your brand? And I know that's a whole nother topic, but how can you show up to your business as you, with this undertone of Beachbody, and you developing relationships with this opportunity for them to join if they want to, versus like they come to your page and you're all Beachbody, all recruiting, all you want to do is get these people on your team and that kind of thing. So kind of a little bit of shift. I'm not telling you not to have conversations every single day. Like, it's important that we're talking to 3 to 5 people every day, building new connections, doing all of that. But when it comes to inviting, I mean, personally, I probably do similar to Kelly. Like, there are days when I go heavy, and there are days when I'm like, oh, I haven't exactly invited anyone today, but I've been talking to a lot of people. So anyway, just another reinforcement to do what works for you, but keep it consistent in building relationships.
And work off of what the conversation you guys have already had. Like, when someone comments on your post, when someone likes your post, that's like fair game for you to be able to, it's like an open invitation for you to reach out to them, so it's not cold because they've already liked you. Like, they're already following you. So when I see the same people commenting, same people liking, like, I'm not going to do it after the first time. I saw something one time where people like, as soon as someone likes my page, I'm going to reach out to them and say thank you. I think that's annoying to me. I don't like that, because I feel like if someone did that to me the minute I liked them, I'd be like, unlike, because I'd be like just annoyed. So like I wait maybe a couple weeks, and then I start to kind of see them, and then I'll write them and be like, hey, just like, thank you so much for following my page. I super appreciate it. Like, where are you from? Like, I do take the time, look at their page. I see you have type 1. How long? Looks like you have a doodle like me. Where'd you get it? Like, just talk, and don't even talk about Beachbody, because the conversation gets going, and it might take a week, it might take a month, it might take 6 months, but the conversations start going and they start commenting more, and you're building that relationship over something that has nothing to do with Beachbody. And that's where a lot of people have then, my follows or stories went from 20 people to like sometimes like, now 700 per follow, per, story. And it's because you're just being you. And be a jerk, be an asshat. Like, I feel like half the time, like, I'm showing myself. Yesterday I was swearing at the camera as I was working out, and I was like, what the fuck? And I like literally mouthed it, but I was playing music so you didn't see it. And I was like, dude, this sucks. I hate cardio. Just be real, because if you are picture perfect all the time, they're going to think they have to be that way. So just, oh my God, I think my underwear about packing so much underwear, my quote about shitting your pants for trips, got like so many follows, and people were writing me, coming to me at work, and was like, that was game on. They're like, that was awesome. I'm like, cool, at least I now you're watching me, because I didn't know anything before. But just be fun, just have fun with it, and don't be perfect. No one likes perfect.
All right, I'm gonna have to play devil's advocate. I do end up messaging everyone who comments on my Facebook posts. And for those of you who don't know me well, I'm running most of mine on, I think I already just mentioned this, but I'm doing the Facebook business page. So a lot of my leads are like cold leads coming in through advertising. But I message people and I tend to lead with the question like, hey, are you like following me for my like silly mom antics? Cause I too, like Kelly, like I don't give a shit and I just like say stupid shit. Or do you have health goals in mind? And just like put it out there. And 9 times out of 10, everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm a mom too, but I'm also like trying to do X, Y, and Z. So I open that door to like have that conversation. Whether or not it leads to some place, it doesn't matter. At least you've opened the door. So again, whatever you're comfortable with, like go for it. I just kind of just put it out there because they're on my page. They've come to follow me for a specific reason. Obviously, I just go ahead and ask.
And I think with Instagram, it's a little different. For what I'm doing on Instagram. Like, I feel like when they go to your like page, like for Instagram, I feel like so many people, like it could be like 100 people a day of new followers. So I'm like, oh my God, like I can't do that. But that's why I wait to see them pop up a couple times and then I'll like reach out to them.
I should clarify. I can't message people until they comment on one of
that makes sense.
So on Facebook business page, you cannot connect with them until they actually engage with you.
That makes sense. And totally the conversation is fair game at that point, you know, but yeah. And I always say stupid things on my polls, like, and I even have a message and I try to voice message them and I'm like, hey, I saw that you commented on my poll on the fitness nutrition program that I'm doing, you know, hey, I know it's Instagram. You might be trying to pass through my page and it's totally cool. I'm like, if it was a whoopsie tap, no biggie, you know, but if you do want more information, give me a shout. And it's so funny because then often they come back like, oh, it was a whoopsie tap. And I'm like, and then, or they're like, yeah, no, I really wanted more information. I'm like, totally cool. But I just play it like it's no big deal. Like this, you might be tapping through my page and I get it, you know, awesome. But like, it's not a big deal if you want information, you don't. And once again, lighthearted, but I always say, whoopsie tap. And then they'll write back and they'll be like, whoopsie, that's actually pretty funny. And then the conversation might start going, having nothing to do with this. But once again, it's creating that like, you know, connection.
Same with me. I use the term clumsy thumbsy. I'm like, sometimes clumsy thumbsy. But yeah, so you're just messaging them because 9 times out of 10 it is clumsy thumbsy, unfortunately, guys. So watch your placement with those polls, like put them somewhere that people aren't tapping. I mean, great if they do, then it starts conversation, but just so you know. The other thing I want to advise you guys to do is use polls on your non-Beachbody posts. For example, like I do things on like The Bachelorette or Bravo Real Housewives, or the other day, like the CMAs were on, or the ACMs. And I did a post about like liking Maren Morris's pre-look or new look. Like you find out people who like the same things as you that way. Like you find your tribe that way when you're like, oh, you like the new Maren Morris look? Like you're not my tribe. no, not as, you know, cut and dry as that. But you just find people who watch the same things as you, or who find the same things ridiculous, or who like, I don't know, have the same troubles, woes of parenthood, or whatever you're into. Post about that stuff. Put a poll up about it. I talk to Dana all the time about asking questions in posts, even if you already know the answer. Like people on your Facebook. I'm like, Dana, you need to ask for help, even though you know the answer. But it creates engagement. People love to tell you their personal opinion on things. So you got to get used to just being an open book about having people tell you things. Like, okay, don't go on there and post something like, where do I don't know. I can't even think of something right now. I'm bad with this kind of stuff, but something you could basically go on Google and type in and get an answer right there. Like people are going to be like, Google it. But when it comes to like, for me, example, I have a post planned that I want to know where people save their videos of kids now, because when we grew up, it was home videos and we had all these VHS things, but now it's like in the cloud and I don't freaking know how that works. So people are going to engage on this post, I'm guessing, when I post it, because people have the same problem. People either are organized about it or have all these videos of their kids on their phone, and should anything happen, it's toast, right? So people are going to be talking about it. It's a topic of conversation, has nothing to do with Beachbody, has to do with my brand, because I'm a mom, like taking videos with my child. So anyway, point being, like, dig into your brand for these posts, guys. Like, stray away from Beachbody occasionally. Talk about other things that are important to you. There's things like this color wheel, which you basically can just, you just print a color wheel and you put one topic in each color, things that are part of you. This is how you develop like your brand, for example, if you're struggling to create a brand. So I need to update some of mine, but toddler mom, speech pathologist, first time mom, nutrition slacker, not this week though. Messy house, like an interior decor wannabe, like someone who wants it to look nice, but in reality it really looks like this. Obsessed with Target and Home Goods. So it gives you an idea if you're like, what do I post about today? And you literally can look at your wheel and be like, oh, let's talk about this. Part of my brand, goes with me, and people who are like me will relate to it and respond to it. But yeah, subscription box junkie, like that's another part of my brand. I love getting those monthly shipments. So you bet I'm talking about it every month when it comes, and it's becoming something people can expect in my Instagram stories, that kind of thing. So make sure that you're branching out from posting about just your workouts and your nutrition and inviting people to join you. It can get, it's easy to get swept up in that because you feel like you have to post every day and that's what you want to talk about. That's what you want people to see, but make sure it's balanced.
I just posted the Katie Hefner graphic in our team page today, actually, with the branding avatar exercise.
That's huge, guys, too. For new coaches, for anyone who hasn't done it, like it can be as simple as just creating a list of things that make you you. Like what is different about you that's different from everyone on this team? Or maybe like we have some things in common, like many of us are mothers, but okay, what kind of mom are you? Are you the Pinterest mom? Are you like the wing it mom? Are you like, talk about those kinds of things in your brand. And I'm sorry, I use mom a lot as the thing.
I should add, or if you've changed or gone through a lot, like remember that's going to change. Like that's part of why I pulled it up today was because like I need to redo that myself. Like I've been through a lot this past year and it's a little more challenging for me to show up now because I kind of think and feel differently than I did a year ago about a lot of things. So feel free to revamp and kind of update that if you've been around a while too.
It definitely makes posting easier to kind of just have a topic where you can refer back to. So like for me, it's shifting again, just like Dana said, like I wasn't working full-time, or I'm not working full-time now, but I wasn't working part-time throughout the week. And now I am. Things have totally changed. So now I'm talking about that in my morning workout posts because I was never getting up at 6 o'clock to work out when I had the whole day to do it, right? So things change. You relate to different people in different chapters of your life. So your people who didn't reach out to me before, I remember, and this is the last thing I'll say about it because I know it's getting late, but when I was working out consistently, I think it was last year in the morning, and I was getting up before, like for no reason, but I just made a point to get up and do like a morning routine. People who were full-time workers were reaching out to me to get involved because they were like, oh, I could do that before work. Like now I'm showing them you can get this done in the morning before your kid wakes up. Oh, I can do that too. Versus when I was doing it at 10 o'clock in the morning and they're like, yeah, she's got all day to work out. So you're going to relate to different people is my point. Like people who do that will relate to people who are working from home or who are stay-at-home moms or whatever, versus people who are now in my network or my niche who can relate to a different component of my journey, different part of my journey. Oh, Mary Page, we do need to do that. I'm not diving into it tonight. But yes, we do
need to have a call that's specifically for that.
Yeah. Yep.
Do any of the newer coaches on here have something they're struggling with and want to talk about? I want to make sure we hear from you guys too that haven't been around for a while.
Hopefully that was also helpful for you guys talking about social media things, because those are. Question from Priscilla, does anyone have business cards? I used to, and I started making another one, and I haven't. But they're great if you make them personalized to like your business, not like a Beachbody card, but like you know, your name on it, Priscilla Morales, mentor, health and wellness mentor, health and wellness coach and business mentor, or something like that, that gets people intrigued to be like, oh, what does that mean? And then they contact you to learn more, or they look at a website to learn more, or something like that.
Thanks. I'm bringing this up because today, well, I just started work again last week from maternity leave. So all of my kids' teachers are like, oh my gosh, like you dropped all your weight. And they've been like complimenting me over the days. And then today one was like, how'd you do it? And I was just like, I run after my toddler and then I'm driving to work and I'm like, oh, stupid. Like how, like, why didn't you just like say something that could have drawn her in? And I'm thinking about this all day long. And then I get back to pick them up and another teacher is like, whatever you're doing, like it's working for you. And I'm like, oh yes, well, like, and now I'm like a health and wellness mentor. And so I'm just trying to follow my own program. And she's like, oh wow, I want in. And then I got stuck again because I'm like, yeah, I'll email you. And
that's awesome.
That's, I was wondering, like, what do you guys do when, you know, just your day-to-day interactions with people and you want to not sound like a thirsty coach, you know?
You can also just tell people to add you on Facebook if you're comfortable with it. I do that. I have people type their name in my search bar and I friend request them right then and there so that they're on there and in my network to connect with. Because sometimes if you give people a business card, you're leaving it on them to contact you. And I used to do that a lot. And then I'd never hear from anybody. And I'm like, I've got to get like a connection now so that I can be the one to go follow up with them. So I personally, not to say business cards aren't helpful if you're going to like, you know, be in the checkout line at the grocery store and want to hand it to somebody real fast, but if you can get them into your social media or get their email, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Email or phone number. Definitely, like we've all had those moments as new coaches, Priscilla. I still have it where I'm like, oh, I was talking to this person at the park and they would have been great for this and I choked. Like you have those moments, but definitely having what we call like an elevator pitch, like when someone says like, oh, what have you been doing? And exactly now you're thinking about it in your head and you're like, oh, I could keep it short and sweet saying like, oh, I got involved with the Beachbody community. I've been doing home workouts and following their nutrition plan. Thank you so much. Like if, you know, it's been awesome. If you want more information, I'm happy to tell you about it or something like that. Keeping it really lighthearted. Doesn't have to be word vomit, super lengthy. If they want more information, you can say like, just write down your phone number for me and I'll text you. Or if you want to friend me on Facebook, if it's someone that you feel comfortable on your Facebook connection. I know, for example, you might not want like coworkers sometimes having your Facebook stuff, but yeah.
Thanks,
that's really great that you're getting feedback on that though. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Also, you look super glam. I'm like, you're like, you showed up to our call looking all nice.
I washed my hair because I had to go to work. That's the only reason.
So funny. Okay, Dana threw you an example in there too in the chat bar.
Like I would personally say that a long time ago, we had a call on like having an elevator pitch like that, like a short and sweet, like 2-sentence thing to where you have, when you have that like deer in headlights moment, you're like, shit, what do I say to this person that you can be like, hey, like, it's so awesome. I lost all of this doing it at home with home programs. Like I mentor women through fitness and nutrition programs that they can fit into their busy schedules and busy lives based on their goals. And I also am mentoring women who desire to earn income from home doing something they're passionate about while sharing their wellness journeys. Like super short and simple, but it kind of like sums up not just that you could coach them, but you could mentor them because that's important too.
Yeah. And even if it's not like all at once, like those components, you just hit home and like short and sweet, because obviously it's going to be a conversation like, oh, I've been doing home workouts now. Like, have you ever heard of Beachbody? You can have this conversation where you open it up to them to kind of give you a little feedback and let them ask you the question like, oh, I need to do that. Or how do I get involved in that? Or that would work for me or whatever.
Yeah. Any other questions? Newer coaches, I'm looking at you. Jacqueline, do I need to call you out, girl? Just kidding.
Mhm.
I'm sick. Everybody's been sick.
Oh, you do sound sick. You sound
I
like
know.
raspy.
I'm proud of you for showing up anyways.
Thank you. I've been missing it, so I'm here. Let's go,
Right.
guys.
Let's I have to personally go. I have a lot of work to do for work tomorrow, so I am going to go, but these calls hopefully will be helpful for people to come on knowing, like, if it's a call like this, you can come with your questions, you can type them in chat, you can come off, it's even better if you unmute and share, because that's just part of our gig. Like, we're all part of the team. Like, you want to develop those skills, and what better place to do it than with the team.
And I
But-
just have to add too that I think connection and like team culture is so important, like for us to all feel connected, and like you can come to any one of us at any point in time. Like if you see somebody on the team doing something you want to do, and reach out and say, hey girl, like how do you do that? Like how are you sharing like this? How are you doing your photos? How are you whatever, to where you feel comfortable to go to anyone to reach out for anything, or to just pop in and share things too. Like we want that high energy and team camaraderie. So that's, I feel like, important for these two.
Yep. And speaking of Super Saturday, Super Weekend this weekend, guys. So if you are not registered, or you don't know how to register or whatever, you want to find one near you, get registered for your Super Saturday, get to an event, meet coaches who are near you. I know, I'm going to mess up her name. I don't know how to say it. I wish she was on the call. And Priscilla learned they live like 5 minutes from each other, right? Did I make that up, Priscilla?
Oh no, yeah. Yeah, how do
Okay,
you
I didn't make that up, right? I think it's
no. Yeah, we're like 5 minutes from each other. We haven't like connected as much as I'd like to, but
yeah. But something like Super Saturday, like they could go together. They'd have a friend, like at least a familiar face there. But it's just a nice way to meet people around you, figure out if anyone on the team is near you. And then for people who have like small groups, like we have in Boston, we'll go out after and just kind of have a chin wag, as they say in Australia. Which I always say chin wag now. People are like, what? You're wagging your chin, you're having a chat. So
Is there a digital one that is
I know Dana was looking for one. I don't think
I have been on the hunt for one, because we do not have an Orlando Super Saturday this time, which is like super duper rare. And I'm on the council, but the ball got dropped somehow with the top 3 that typically like plan the event location and all that. Like it just
That's crazy.
and my closest one is over 2 hours, and I mean technically I could go, but I have my kid and I'm not sure if I can bring him, so I'm still trying to debate on if I can finagle that. But
well
if I find a virtual one, I will be sure to let you know.
We can try to make a plan to stream ours. Like if I go prepared with what I need, like just a full battery and whatever, I can stream it. I can try to do that as a last resort, like the whole thing, just bring my stand and just plug my phone in for you guys and stream it right to the team page.
Yeah, Super Saturdays, she asked what they typically are. So depending on your location, they're a little different, but usually they'll have like a panel of speakers or like a few testimonial stories, whether it's like coach success stories or transformation success stories. And then there's a corporate video. So it kind of sums up what's coming in the next quarter, maybe like what program or products are launching, where the next Success Club trip would be. Like it's all where they do like important corporate announcements. And then typically they'll do some type of live workout that you can partake in. And it's cool to meet local people in your area, and really, if nothing more, to be a part of like the energy of positivity and support and community, and just like feel like a part of something more than yourself. Because as much as we love getting online and seeing each other's faces, it's different when you see people and like feel that energy in person.
Dana, I think Indy had a virtual one. It was like $15 maybe, but we have Carl speaking.
Indy?
Indy.
Can you see if you can find that link and share it? Because
Yeah.
I searched our Southeast pages and didn't find the one I found last time to share.
Yeah, I'll see if I can do that.
Thank you. And yeah, guys, like that's an awesome option because I know I've had some coaches that live in like really out in the boonies areas that literally would have to drive like a day or like fly somewhere to go to one. And if that's you, definitely have the virtual option. But a lot of us, guys, if you are going to a Super Saturday and you feel inspired by something you hear someone talk about, a speaker you hear, a nugget, a quote, a whatever, like please share that stuff. Because if it helped you, it'll probably help somebody else. And I know that those are always like a kick in the ass of fire every quarter. So share is what we're getting at.
Good, and let's get more people on these calls as much as possible. The more energy we can create together, the more the team just kind of keeps carrying on. This torch stays lit.
Hey, I have a challenge for all of us for next week with what you just said, Annalisa.
Okay.
How about every single coach on this team invite and bring one more person to join us on next week's call?
Like someone on the team, you mean, or a coach of our, yeah.
And if you don't have your own coaches, reach out to a challenger that's been kicking ass and invite them, or reach out to somebody on the team that you've not seen active in a little while and encourage them to join us. Like, guys, like teams have to work together. This is not just like pulling the troops. It has to be all of our energy working together. So reach out.
We want to be a team that people want to be a part of. And to do that, we do it together. So I am out.
Thanks, everybody, for partaking.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for staying on.
Oh, Boomerang, hang on.
Oh. Where would we be without you?
Out, Alicia. You should be like, what? Oh.
And shout out to Alicia for organizing a post Super Sunday event. All right.
Yes.
Okay, Boomerang.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, can we do that again? My phone is always like, boop, boop. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye, ladies.